Welcome to the Songwriters Across Texas podcast. This state has a lot to offer, and music is one of its greatest exports. On this podcast, we get to know songwriters through their stories and hear some of their music. Today, we're at Arlyn Studios, and my guest is Colin Brooks. I'm Karl Anderson, and this is the Songwriters Across Texas podcast. He grew up in Mayo, Michigan, in God's country, a world of trees and deer and fish. His father passed away when he was only 2, and he inherited his Gibson hummingbird. To Colin Brooks, it was a symbol. By the time he was 13, he was getting serious about guitar, learning Stevie Ray, Eddie Van Halen, and Steve Morse. But it was Johnny Cash who really got his attention, and Christopherson, the songwriting aspect. He also found the teachings of Christ and started playing in the church band. He started to understand that faith is a great featherbed. Colin went to pursue a music career in Austin in the early aughts, playing songs in the now-defunct club Momo's. It was there he met Ed Jurdy and Gordy Quist, both songwriters, all doing fine individually, but as soon as they got their voices and songs together, they became the Band of Heathens. It was something to behold, all right. I was right up there close watching it. Colin's got a solo career now. He's a wildlife guide. I'm really glad he's here. Welcome to the show, Colin.
Oh, thanks, Karl. This is a song that Kelly McQuee and I wrote. Everybody stumbles. Everybody falls along the way. Everybody needs a helping hand to hold some days. And I can hear the thunder. I can see the lightning all around. If you listen close, it makes a joyful sound. It's a joyful sound. There ain't nobody crying, lying in the everlasting arms, holding on to love and blood and letting go of sadness. Letting go of fear that holds you down. Open up and make a joyful sound. 'Cause it's a joyful sound. It's a joyful sound. It's a joyful sound. Falls from the sky and it comes from the ground. It comes from within and it comes from without. It's a joyful sound. Everybody rise up, everybody make a joyful noise. Everybody clap your hands, sing it with one voice. 'Cause there ain't nobody crying, lying in the everlasting arms, holding on to love and blood and letting go. 'Cause it's a joyful sound. It's a joyful sound. It falls from the sky and it comes from the ground. It comes from within and it comes from without. Oh, thank you, Karl.
Colin, I haven't seen you in like a hot minute, and I forgot how good of a guitar player you are. You have nice intricacies that I was like, oh, I remember now.
You know what I've been doing lately is learning to play the pedal steel. And it's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
It is not. I've played the lap steel, of course, for a long time.
Right.
And that has given me a bit of a leg up. But the pedal steel, it probably shouldn't be called a guitar.
How to tell me how what it's huge because it's so big or
well, there's 10 strings.
Okay.
I have an E9, it's a single neck. So a lot of times you have 20 strings because you have 2 separate necks.
Oh wow.
So you also have knee levers and pedals that you step on that raise and lower pitches.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on.
You don't see people playing those, do you?
Well, we have some wonderful pedal steel players here in Austin. Really.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Tell me who they are because I can't remember anyone ever watching anyone play one of those things.
Well, Lloyd Maines, he's been around forever.
Yeah.
And you don't often see him playing it,
no,
but
that's right.
He does sessions. Bob Hoffner, Gary Newcomb. He's a bit of a younger. He's probably younger than I am, but he's probably the first guitar player I met when I first came to Austin.
Oh yeah.
He was playing lap steel. I was like, hey man.
Right.
We were sort of, but it was funny. I hadn't seen him in a hot minute, at least 10 or 12 years.
Those years go by fast.
They go by fast. I spoke his name with a mutual friend of ours for the first time in many years, and then walked into the sagebrush that night, and there he was.
Oh man, I love when that happens.
It's
It's
just
serendipity, right?
Yeah, who knows how this works, but
Well,
it's magic.
It is magic. I think it is. It's so good to have you here. What was it like growing up in Mayo, Michigan?
It was very non-urban.
Right.
We ate from the streams and the lakes and from the woods. We were farmers, but we probably ate more venison than beef or pork because that was the way.
And were you out on? Did you hunt?
Yeah.
Did you go out early with all that too? Was that just? I didn't grow up in a family like that. That was a hunter's family, so I'm curious about it. It's from like day one. Come on, we're going out to catch dinner.
Yeah, it's the way it is.
Wow. You liked it. It wasn't like, I wish I was in a city.
No, in fact, we moved to a bigger town in Ohio when I was about 10 or 11, and I was scared to death.
Right.
I had read some book about all the gangs and the drugs and,
In Ohio?
Yeah, I think it was called the Cross and the Switchblade. No, it was about New York. But
I was gonna
it's
say,
one of those books designed to scare kids away.
Oh my, the cross and the switchblade.
Don't do drugs. Someone will stab you with a switchblade.
Well, New York, Ohio, I know that in Ohio, I've been through Ohio quite a bit, and there are some rough sections of Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
But nothing was like New York, back in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. It's expensive to be there
yeah.
now, but that's how much progress is made there. Your father passed away when you were just a little baby, so you don't really have any memories of
I
him.
actually remember the day he died.
You do?
I remember seeing my mom just freaking out.
Right.
Because he died right in front of her. He was digging a well. He actually wasn't digging a well. He was digging out a well point that he had broken off. And by God, he wasn't going to waste that $12 well point.
That's what happened.
So he dug and dug and dug, and she was pulling up dirt, and it caved in on him.
Wow.
So
Yeah, what a way to go out. That's rough.
it's one way to go.
You got his Gibson hummingbird.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh my gosh.
Look at all it's old.
Yeah. Oh man, that's gorgeous.
Amazing guitar.
When did you start playing it?
Well, I don't ever remember not playing it. I knew I knew a few chords, and actually had in first grade, there was a music teacher in our school who, we learned folk songs. We learned, "Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man," I probably knew 10 or 12 chords by the time I was in first grade.
Really?
Yeah.
And you taught yourself the chords?
Well, that teacher was very helpful.
Oh, the teacher helped.
Yeah.
Okay. The teacher showed you the chords, but
Yeah.
they stuck with you.
It stuck with me. And then when I remember feeling an imminent kind of pressure, like, wow, I really need to. I'm getting too old. I need to learn to play this instrument. I know that I have to do this.
At that young age?
Pretty young, and I didn't really get going on it well, like seriously, till I was 13. But I did. I had that sense of like imminence, like I have to learn to play this instrument.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But you did. At 13's a fine age. It's not like you cheat. You have a little childhood.
Right.
So you're listening to guitar. Like you really like the sort of heavy guys, and those are the
Stevie
ones.
Ray Vaughan really captured me. If I could have moved to Austin then, I would have.
Right. Yeah, totally.
But I was very attracted to technical guitar players, and I'd never achieved that kind of.
I was going to say it doesn't really come off in your style.
But it got totally derailed by songwriting.
Right.
I started writing songs as soon as I started really playing the guitar. I learned a little bit of theory about how chords work together, and I had already been playing those songs. So it all kind of coalesced, and I just started making up songs.
Uh-huh.
And
Do you remember the songs?
I think, I grew up in the church, and so I think the first song I ever wrote was an adaptation of a psalm, a psalm of David.
Yeah.
And
cool.
So I don't remember what it was.
Right. Some people...
We would sing some of those songs in church. We had a small enough church. They would be like, okay, we'll play one of Colin's songs.
That's so cool. I started in the church too on the stage. Like, when I was 9, that was the year they let you go join the chorus at 9. And I was good. And they would do a yearly play, and I would play Jesus and David and Goliath and the prodigal son, and I was like, boy, I'm never going to get better roles than that. It's all downhill from there.
Yeah, I've been playing the prodigal son for a while.
Yeah. But you were into early the words that were in the Bible and that were being said.
Yeah, I have an interesting relationship with that because I think the teachings of Christ are powerful and have never left me. And
really powerful.
But the church thing is much more complicated, and it doesn't necessarily reflect that.
The church really kind of messed it up. I'm not trying to rag the church, but they're not getting people to find God, really. I think that's,
Yeah, I mean, this is Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within.
Yes.
You have to look within.
Exactly. That's
It's not out.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So,
yeah.
and it's an important part of my life. It's maybe the most important part of my life, is that looking inward.
Is it? And it's through Christ that you get to God, right? It's like that's...
I have resonated much more with the Eastern teachings.
Me too.
Zen, we've spoken of Yogananda, and I have resonated with that more. But as I come to realizations or openings of surrender, suddenly then the teachings of Christ make more sense.
I'm
for the first time.
Right. I'm really trying to connect them too, because I think they're like the Yogananda and the Eastern stuff that we like. It's the same thing. Yeah. It's the exact same thing. It's just a different way of saying it.
The thing is, this cannot be spoken of. You can speak around it.
Right. That's right.
But you cannot say it. The
Once-
peace that passes all understanding passes all understanding.
Yeah. So once you think you got your thumb on it, it's somewhere else.
Well, it's just you can be it.
Yeah.
But the mental, intellectual construct is not it.
That's right.
It's included in that.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is why it's tricky business, and why some people meditate all their lives and come up still grumpy.
Yes. Exactly.
A friend of mine who's in Al-Anon, she is such a good teacher for me.
It's a great program.
Yeah, 12 steps in general can be very inspired.
I was
think.
in Al-Anon and I did the steps.
Did you?
You're supposed to do the steps if you're in Al-Anon too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But her mantra is surrender is the key.
Yes.
Or acceptance is the key.
And surrender.
Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes she says, surrender is the fucking key.
Yeah, I like that.
And then sometimes fucking surrender is the fucking key.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I think it's great to use cuss word when it's because it's like lighten up.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard.
Sometimes it's super hard.
Experience creates friction.
Yes.
Yes. Dualism or the relationship.
Yes.
So if we want love, then there is a friction that comes with that, and I don't know any other way around it. But there is something that includes all of it.
I think music is really like one of the great expressions, like to sing to the praises, and that it's a vibrational thing. So when you sing, and it unifies people.
Yeah.
So like as a gift from God, that to be able to do that, you are an instrument already of Him.
Well, and that's I haven't really been playing a lot of music for the last almost 10 years after I quit the Heathens.
Right.
I didn't really plan on quitting music, but I really struggled for a while.
Right.
And when I kind of came to life again, I felt this great freedom. Like I don't have to do anything.
Right. Right. That is nice.
I can do anything.
Or not.
And I ended up being a fishing guide in Wyoming, and it was a beautiful thing. But that process of awakening to, oh, I can do anything. I thought, well, maybe I'll start playing music again. Maybe it'll come back to me. But it didn't until just this last year. I started writing songs again.
Wow.
And it seems, and maybe I'm just justifying it in retrospect, but it seems like it's the only thing I do that brings people together.
Is the music. Everything else is kind of self-centered or actually divisive. You can get in conversations with people. And when you're out in the things.
It can get pretty divisive if because it's hard in this day and age to not get upset about stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just
Take
not
it
the
personally.
way.
Some people love to be insulted. It's like they don't know how to not. It's like they just turn everything into an insult
Outrage,
because they need something to do. I guess I don't know. Let's the wildlife thing. What's the secret of fly fishing? We had Calder Allen on here, and he had the big fly fishing thing. He got a lot of peace out of that.
It's kind of artful in a way. The way to make a fly line go is very different than a spin casting rod. With a spin casting rod, you only have a forward stroke, but with a fly rod, you have a back cast that is equal to the forward cast.
Okay.
So it's essentially the same, and sometimes you use a back cast to, if you got to get over there and you can't do this, you just let that back cast go. So, but anyway, the beauty of casting a fly line is that it's very balanced in a way, and it's very counterintuitive. Almost no one can just pick up a fly rod and make a fly line go properly. It's
right.
It's like hitting a golf ball.
I was going to compare it to golf.
Yeah, they work on their swing forever, and then sometimes something will happen, and they lose their mojo, and they can't. So sometimes your fly cast can fall apart too.
That makes perfect sense.
But it's very elegant.
What you were talking earlier about the trout, I think, and then one of them was easy to kill, and one of them was impossible to kill.
Oh, on our coast, yeah. Sea trout are notoriously frail.
Right.
Especially the big females that you really are trying to revive and allow them to, because they're illegal to kill. Versus a redfish, who are very difficult. They're very, very hardy fish.
I wonder if redfish are just like an older species or something somehow.
Well, they're very interrelated. They're part of the drum family, both species.
Right. Okay.
Part of us, they're subspecies of the drum
family.
Yeah.
I used to get a really good piece of drum at Evangeline's. It was stuffed. God, is that part of the fun of it? I'm catching my food.
Well, we have been hunters and gatherers for much longer than we've been farmers.
Yep.
So
that's for sure.
It's in our DNA.
Yeah, it sure is.
So certainly, and then in fly fishing, there's a lot of catch and release, because if you kill all the fish that you catch, there will be no fish left in those rivers. There's too many white people that want to come along and poke them in the face.
Right.
So that's a tough one to
poke them in the face.
Torture an animal, to get your jollies.
It's that's one of those things that I find very difficult to the stomach. Yeah.
But in general, even I think Rudolf Steiner said that vegetarians only eat organisms that can't run away from them. And don't scream too loudly. So we're all eating sun and dirt.
Yeah, and also plants are a real living thing.
They communicate.
Yeah, exactly. So if we think that it's like, oh, we could just, no. It's all...
Everything eats something else. And life includes death.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And if you're just ready for it, when it comes, you're probably going to be a lot better off. That's the way I look at it.
Ready to feed the worms.
Yeah. And hey, did I do good on the way out? Oh, I hope I'm coming. I hope I did good. Good enough.
Good enough.
Let's kick off another song.
This is a song that I wrote from a certain perspective, being in love, and then I got my heart broke, and I realized this song, it still meant something. It was more like a Rumi poem where he writes to the beloved. You know, it's a poem to God or to the spirit, the beloved, and all that love is not something that goes away. It's something that is happening within, and this song, the line is, "I won't let you go, I won't let you down." I've let a lot of people down. I've been let down. And, there's no way to promise anyone else that you will never let them down. But in a bigger sense, you can promise yourself that you won't let yourself down. And so, in a way that has a beauty that I think still rings true. I was a lonely man, and I had a hardened heart. Tried to find my way through the rain and the dark, but I found a lover with a fire burning bright. I was a sinking ship, so I tried to sabotage to make my getaway, but I found a lover with a fire burning bright. And I won't let you down, I won't let you go, I won't let you walk through this world all alone. And I'm not gonna run, I'm not gonna fight, I just wanna stand in the fire burning bright. The fire burning bright. I was a sinking ship, though I tried to see. Ain't no monkey mind gonna take this from me. 'Cause I found a lover with a fire burning bright. And I won't let you down, I won't let you go, I won't let you walk through this world all alone. I'm not gonna run, I'm not gonna fight, I just wanna stand and the fire burning bright. The fire burning bright. And I won't let you down. I won't let you go. I won't let you walk through this world all alone. I'm not gonna run. I'm not gonna fight. I just wanna stand in the fire burning bright. I won't let you down. I won't let you go. I won't let you walk through this world all alone. I'm not gonna run. I'm not gonna fight. I just wanna stand in the fire burning bright. In the fire burning bright. The fire burning bright.
Lovely. Yeah, right up that was like a Rumi poem. How about we talk about maybe you got to Brooklyn and you probably moved, but I'm really interested in how you got from there to here in talking about the Heathen stuff, because that was, man, I was really just happy that I was there when that was happening.
Yeah, it was magical.
It was really magical.
The history of Austin, there was something here that was like a Mecca for a person like me. I had plied my trade in Ohio and on the road some, and then I was in New Mexico for a while and then went to New York. New York was beautiful and tough, but I kept running into people who said, you got to move to Austin, Colin, you got to move. And I had, I would tried 10 years earlier, but hadn't made it. But so Austin was a lure. It was a draw. It was like, there was a lot of music coming out of here that was music I liked, singer-songwriters, kind of with that rock and roll, raw, rootsy, honky-tonk thing, and so I was drawn here. And so were Ed and Gordy and Brian Keane, who was also in the original Heathens.
The four-headed monster.
Yeah, it was four-headed monster back then.
Yeah.
So, I think kudos to Austin and Texas in general for mothering this, this thing that we do here.
Exactly.
The honky-tonks and the two-stepping and the, from Towns Van Zandt to, just like Texas loves its songwriters.
Yeah, and the world loves
pickers.
Texas songwriters, too. They got a lot of love overseas.
Yeah.
Japan. I remember talking to Doster. He was like the first guy to tell me, Stephen Doster. He was over in Japan, and I was like, how was it over there? He's like, man, they roll the red carpet out for you, And I was like, that makes sense. And the opposite, in Austin itself, like, it was hard to get people to clap sometimes. I've been in places, and I'm like, come on, people.
Yeah.
Get over here. But it wasn't hard for you guys to get people to clap when the Band of Heathens came together.
Each one of us had our own band, and, we played with each other some. I played guitar for Brian Keane, and we shared musicians. Eldridge was the drummer and played for everybody, but... none of us were really beating up the world.
Right.
But when we just started doing that Wednesday thing, no rehearsals, just, okay, call a song and everybody follow along. And, but we did one rehearsals after several months when it seemed like, wow, this is a kind of a cool thing. We should maybe take care of it. And we started singing No More Cain on the Brazos, and we got that harmony so tight. And something palpably changed in me.
Wow.
And I went, oh, this is happening, and...
that's what we were getting in the audience, too.
But that's when it started to, be more than just a song swap.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Those voices coming
the
together.
harmonies made that, and they weren't, they weren't real luscious and perfect. They were a little ragged.
That was what I liked that about it, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it had
I thought
juice.
it had husk on it.
Yeah.
That was a time. And so how you guys put out a couple records, like George started producing you guys?
No,
Mark
George
Addison?
did. Addison produced one, but George produced the last one I was on, the
Gotcha.
Top Hat Crown.
Okay.
I remember seeing George Reiff in Columbus, Ohio. He came through and played with Charlie Sexton.
Oh, yeah.
That was under the Wishing Tree tour.
Exactly.
That
The
really had a
sextet.
profound effect on me.
Nice.
That's when I knew I had to get to Austin. But George was a bass player in that band, and George was an exceptionally unique bass player.
Uh-huh.
In the, sometimes it would just astound you what he would play. It would be so unintuitive, but so right. So maybe actually intuitive is the right word.
Right, but it wasn't anything like you had ever heard, maybe.
Exactly. I thought he was just a brilliant bass player.
Cool that you got to have him produce. Do you want to talk about how many years was you were in the Heathens, like 7, 8? Is that how long it was?
Yeah.
And it ran its course. Do you want to talk at all about that?
I really started to struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And when a person is suffering, they will often cast aspersions on the relationships that are close at hand.
Yeah.
And I was a difficult person to get along with those last few years, maybe the whole time. But as I was suffering more, I was also drinking more. I think it was hard on those guys, and they're beautiful human beings. They're not perfect, but they're beautiful. And I was just I was going through an existential crisis that I was sometimes pointing the finger, and what I found after I quit was very clearly that it had nothing to do with them whatsoever.
Right. Right.
My path was I needed to look within myself and really pay attention to that spiritual seeking that was arising in me, the unhappiness and the crisis that I was facing. Basically I was 43 or 2 or whatever, and so you could call it a midlife crisis, but that sometimes puts it in a box that diminishes what is actually happening.
That's right. It's not a midlife. It's like this is the time where you figure out really the
You want
the
to
depth.
know what's true.
Yes, exactly.
And who I am.
And it's probably going to be a little sloppy.
It was sloppy.
I'm sure mine was sloppy as hell too. I mean, and yet, when you get out to the other side of it, I'm glad I wouldn't trade any of it.
Oh man, yeah.
So it took you a while to, you put music away, and you.
I didn't put it away, but it dropped.
Right.
I basically didn't get out of bed for a year.
Wow. Yeah.
I went dark, and I was afraid that I wasn't going to survive. But I actually had a realization in the midst of it that, okay, I'm not going to commit suicide while my mom's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave me a sense of freedom, in a way, to just to go through what I was going through, to allow what is happening, and to plumb the depths of it.
Wow. Right. That's wow. I've never had anyone put it to me like that before. So you really were, you're like, I don't know, man, I'm ready to just put myself
I knew
out
that
the
I
gate.
couldn't live the rest of my life in that much despair.
Right. Right.
Which is ridiculous, because when I woke up out of that, it was like turning on a light switch.
Right. And what was that?
I had kind of, in the tail end of that year, I had turned back to some of the Zen teachers and Advaita teachers that I had listened to before and read. And so I was starting to assimilate and embody this and accept what was happening and just pay attention to it. And, you know, one of my teachers, I think Muji, said, all that which is observed is not you. That which observes is you. Anything that's observed, including your thoughts and your body and your mind, is not you. And in that moment, I tripped and fell, and something didn't get back up.
Right.
And I was free from that self-referential darkness.
Oh my, thank God.
For some years, and I have since kind of re-entangled myself to work out some other karma, I guess.
Yeah.
And go
Karma's
back to Earth
big.
School, but it's never been the same since that moment. It was a beautiful moment of liberation that was a gift. That when you said I wouldn't go back and trade any of it, you know, like in that moment, that freedom was so valuable and so dear and so spacious.
Yes.
And full of grace.
Yeah.
That I would have gone back through hell just to get through that.
Right. We got to close it out, but where are you at musically? You're going to put out some new stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got a dozen or 13 songs recorded and a few more just lurking in the wings. You know, I'm a little baffled as to how the music industry works.
Yeah.
I'm baffled as to how life works, really. But that's okay.
Yeah. The music industry, it seems like they're focusing on singles.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people releasing songs, and then they're also making videos
Yeah.
to go with them.
Right.
And I think it's neat because they're mixing the two art forms, and they're into it more than like when videos came out and the artist just showed up and, you know, like, point the camera at me. Like, these guys are pointing the camera at each other.
Right.
That's cool. So you're making it with Mark Addison.
Mark Addison, Airy Studios.
We love Mark Addison at Airy Studios. And do you have one more for us?
Yeah.
Great.
The other big endeavor that I'm embarking on is, like I said earlier, playing the pedal steel.
Right.
And it has captured my imagination. And, you know, I don't know how good but I'm playing it out. You know, I'm taking it out and making music with it, and it's really exciting to because it's like a surfboard with a big outboard motor on it too. You know, it is a whole different thing for me, and I feel like a kid for the first time since I started playing music.
Wow.
As a kid.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, and is it going to make it to the record?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We got that
played
to
a few.
look forward to.
I'd like to put it on all the songs, but Mark Addison was like, well, just because you play steel now doesn't mean you have to put steel on every song.
That's why he's the producer.
Yeah. All right, we'll play another song. This is one that I just wrote a few weeks ago. It's called Shining on the Inside. I got a love light shining on the inside, shining on the inside of my soul. I got a love light shining on the inside, shining on the inside of my soul. It's a lot like sunshine, it's a little like moonshine, and it makes my body high. It's a lot like lovers in the sweet night, but there ain't no need to cry, 'cause I got a love light shining on the inside, shining on the inside of my soul. I got a love light shining on the inside, shining on the inside of my soul. There ain't no trouble in the water with my mind up in the sky. There ain't no trouble that sings me sweetly and teaches me to fly. 'Cause I got a love light shining on the inside, shining on the inside of my soul. There ain't no trouble gonna break me with this love light in my soul. There ain't no trouble with this heartache that makes my home, my body whole. Love light shining on the inside, shining on the inside of my soul. I got a love light shining on the inside, shining on the inside of my soul. I got a love light, I got a love light shining on the inside, shining on the inside, shining on the inside of my soul. I got a love light shining on the inside, shining on the inside of my soul. That was the sing-along one.
I know, and I was like, I think I kind of whispered it a little bit. We'll see if it came out or not. Thank you so much, Colin, for being here. Please leave a like and subscribe. I know that gets said to people all the time, and I'm myself sometimes pretty bad at it, but it really helps everybody if you will do that for us, and we can keep continuing to bring you these great interviews. Colin Brooks, once again, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Karl.
All right.